guys, hi. This is going to be my second YouTube, and today I want to just kind of do a get to know me questions that you might not know about me or that you were curious about. I did a Q&A on my Instagram. We're just gonna go from there. The first thing I want to talk about is not a question, it's just more like giving background into me. I'm from originally Bedford, New York. That's often a misconception about me. A lot of people think I'm like from New York City, and I'm fully a suburb girl, was raised in the suburbs, and for good or bad, it was what shaped me. And I definitely identify more with the city now, and I feel my personality and my pace is super city, but I think the suburbs is an amazing place to raise a family. There's something to be said about suburb upbringing. I am one of two. I have my sister, Sophie, who is amazing and I love her. And my mom and dad, obviously. And my mom is my favorite person ever. She's the best mom ever. And she just gives me so much inspiration for the mom I hope I can be. And my dad is also one of my biggest inspirations. He's honestly why I got into fashion. Fashion's like been ingrained in me. It's like the only career path I knew because my dad worked at Coach for 25 years. And now he does a lot of board and stuff with retail. He sits on a lot of amazing boards, Crocs, Vera Bradley, he's the chairman of. He has others that I probably am not saying. But anyways, I also had a really weird school trajectory, and school was like never my favorite thing. Like I definitely would say I thrive more as like an above school age level. Elementary school, public. Then I switched over to Convent of the Sacred Heart in Greenwich, which is an amazing school, but it definitely identified where I stood religious-wise, and we'll get into that because there's a lot of questions about my Judaism and converting. And then I switched from Sacred Heart to this boarding school, Gunnery, in upstate Connecticut. Absolutely hated it. It was so not for me, like just not my jam. And then middle of my junior year, I switched to my public high school, Fox Lane. And then I went to Syracuse University and graduated from there. And I love Syracuse. I met such amazing people there. Like it's such a great school, and I feel it's a really New York based school. And I feel like so many people do such cool things with their degree with Syracuse. So I'm a really big fan. One of the first questions I'm gonna start with is your career progression. I thought that was a really interesting place to start because also some people online might not know what I do. Like it's kind of confusing. I'm here, I'm there, I'm posting photos, I'm recommending things. So I am a content creator, fashion, lifestyle, beauty, travel, and I also am an editor at large for the Daily Front Row. How I got to be here is I started on Instagram in 2011. I was in my junior year of high school. I was one of the first people that like was using Instagram, and at college it like wasn't popular, but I remember at Syracuse like I would wear these crazy outfits to tailgates. I need to find some of them, but I would be wearing like my like Chloe bag and like just so insane, and I would just love to take photos, and I always tried to make like tailgate outfits cute. So I think like that's kind of when I amassed. And then when I went abroad, I like loved all my travel pics, and that's kind of how I started this like I show my outfits when I travel, and I just love it. Like it might come off as vain and whatever, but I just like genuinely find self-expression in me posting my outfit. And I think fashion, something that comes so naturally to me. I can just literally like be like, okay, I have this tonight, and I just think in my closet like what I have, and I'm like, okay, I put together an outfit, and like I'm pretty fast. Also, like when I online shop, I'm really fast, whatever. Every summer I interned at a company. I interned at Coach, where my dad worked, obviously, which was like a favor to my dad, but it was an amazing learning experience, and I worked under amazing people. I interned at Bergdorf Goodman and was one in the shoe department, and was one of the 5 interns that got the job at Bergdorf Goodman following my graduation from Syracuse. And so I worked at Bergdorf's for like, I think it was like a year. I wasn't perfect at the job. Like, let me tell you, a 22-year-old like going into an industry like that, and like I'm coming from college, I'm coming from like don't have to answer to anyone. Like it definitely like shaped me and was a really big learning experience. What happened at Bergdorf's though is I loved my experience so much. I think it was like the coolest intro to New York City, and like I was so proud to tell people I worked at Bergdorf's. But ultimately what happened is that a month in, I worked for this amazing woman, Jaja, who now has the sickest jewelry line. You can see it on Net-a-Porter and whatever. Jaja, a month in, was like, called me into her office. And I swear I thought I was getting fired. I was like, okay, this has been fun. But she called me in and she was like, Charlotte, I need to talk to you. And I was like, hi, Jaja, what's up? And she was like, I'm actually leaving Bergdorf's. I'm starting like my own thing. I just have been here for a while, whatever. And you're now going to be reporting to your divisional. And that was super intimidating at such a young age because I like was needing that guidance that like a buyer could give an assistant buyer. So I was thrown into it and I kind of was serving as the buyer, let's say, for what I was doing, which was 5F and contemporary. And I think what really came to light when I was at Bergdorf's and working for my divisional, who also was such an impressive woman, is that I definitely was more creative. I'm not gonna like sit here and say I love Excel. I'm not super organized when it comes to that, but I am super creative and I think I have good taste. And that definitely was amplified. And in combination, I was working with a lot of these brands that were seeing me. They saw my cute outfits. They liked me. They liked my personality, whatever. And I was running my Instagram in tangent to working at Bergdorf's. And they were just like, why don't you do this full time? And Shopbop was actually my first place that I got like a brand deal with. And I was like, if I give this my all, I can do this like full time. It was like the rise, like Danielle Bernstein, Kiara, Ariel Charnas, they were all the it girls. So I was just like, I gotta give this a go. And I did try blogging with my sister. We had this blog, Into My Yang. It was super fun, but I think ultimately for Sophie and I, we're like so different. And like working together just didn't work. But it was like an amazing experience and we like did so many cool things. We did a lot of brand deals. We did this campaign where like Danny Michelle was a part of it. But I just think that it's really hard to work with his sisters. And as we got older, like our lives are different. I was like in LA for 2 years. Sophie's here. She's married. She's gonna try to have kids soon. I have been in this content blogging world, whatever you want to call it, influencer world. Say what you want about the career. I think it takes a lot of hard work. A lot of people don't see behind the scenes. You have to constantly be thinking of new ideas to engage your audience. You constantly have to be, you know, showing your audience like all of your life. If you even go off for like a week, people like are like on to the next. So it's super time consuming. And I think that influencer or like content creator gets a negative rep, but I have so much admiration and respect for everyone in my industry. And I think all these girls really kill it and hustle their asses off and are amazing. In the recent years, I was doing it, but I wasn't giving it like my full. And I think what honestly like inspired me to go harder is my husband just was like, you can be making so much more money. You can be like doing so much more. Like you gotta like give it more of your all. And like he's honestly helped me so much with like finances and saving money and just ultimately pushing me to be a better version of myself, which is what you want in a husband. So within the last couple of months, I was actively seeking new management. Luckily landed on like the best interview, round one. I remember it was right before my bachelorette. I interviewed with 2 girls at DBA and both of them are now my managers, Miriam and Regina. And I was like trying to play it so cool, but I was so obsessed with them. And the interview, like I thought went well, but like sometimes you think an interview goes well and it like, you never hear from them again. I actually had one of those. I was like, I thought I killed it and then like ghost. So that's obviously like part of life. But Miriam was like, okay, well, we'll touch base like after your bachelorette and I'm excited to see it. So I was like really trying to like turn on the bachelorette content, impress them, whatever. And then it came to be that I got signed by them like literally a month before my wedding. And it's been like the most amazing transformation in my career. I'm signed now to Digital Brand Architects, and if you're familiar in the space, they are just so good at what they do. They have such support and help you be the best version of yourself. And I just feel so blessed and lucky that I am now with them. And I love my manager, Miriam, my day-to-day, and I also love Regina. So that's kind of the career progression. And I am working more than I ever have. And I'm super excited for where it takes me because I think only as I've gotten older, my following has become more engaged. So I think that's where I'm at. I'm super excited for Fashion Week. Also, I'm an editor-at-large for the Daily Front Row. This came on to me when I was about 5 years ago. And it's honestly been an area that I've like really enjoyed. I think for me, it's like the blended mix of being a fashion buyer where I started and just like loving all of these trends and whatever. And it's such a good place and outlet for me to express myself, and I'm just excited for where it can take me. I've met such cool people, I've had such cool experiences through it, and so I always want to expand my writing editor zhuzh. I'm such a believer that you can manifest anything you want. I have literally manifested so much in my life. I think of something and I'm like, I'm gonna do that, and it happens. And you just have to shoot as high as you can. Maybe it won't all happen, but have your North Star list of things and you can do anything you want to do. I really believe that. So that's the career progression. Stay tuned for this year. Okay, next big one is my conversion to Judaism. This is such a big part of me, so I feel I have to touch on it right now. I went to Convent of the Sacred Heart, which is an all religious Catholic school. We had liturgy, we had chapel once a week. Me in middle school, I just thought that I wasn't into religion. My family's not super religious, but obviously we do the high holidays, and everyone in my family has their own relationship with their higher power, whatever that might be. But I just didn't like what they were teaching. Maybe it's because they were forcing it down my throat and it wasn't me coming to the understanding. But I thought religion wasn't for me. And then when I got to Syracuse University, shout out to all of my Syracuse Jews. I love every single one of you because you're the reason that I converted. But everyone's first question to one another was, what camp did you go to? And when you ask that question, obviously there's so much anti-Semitism in the world right now, but I think it's fucking amazing that you ask such a simple question, what camp did you go to? And then you find that you know this person and that person and all this geography forms in front of your face. I think it is so beautiful and amazing. And I knew from that moment on, I needed to be a part of it. So then went on to date Jewish guys. All of my boyfriends have been Jewish. It's just the type. My family knows it. They're all oh my God, they see someone and they're like, Charlotte, that's your type, whatever. My boyfriend from college, who's my first love, he and his family were so warm and amazing. And his mom is my icon. I love her. And she was just my first Jewish mother. And she was just you're gonna need to convert if you want to be a part of this. A lot of moms don't like it, whatever. And I was okay, we'll see. But then I dated another Jewish guy and his family was super warm, whatever. Both of these people were Reformed Jews, let me just preface. And then in COVID, I wasn't dating anyone. I was really scared. I was 25, 26 when I was in COVID. And I was I feel I'm not going to find anyone. And my mom was you need to be the best version of yourself when you are back in the world. Forget about now, but you should do something that makes you really happy. And she knew I loved Judaism. I always was obsessed with Jewish culture and all these things. And she was why don't you just convert to Judaism? And at first my thought was, people are gonna think I'm so weird, my family's not Jewish, why would I convert? But as I got older, I was you know what? It's really cool. This is so my personality to do things that are different. You don't have to answer to anyone. You don't have to get anyone's approval. If you think that's cool, then you do it. You do it for yourself though. Don't do it for other people. What I am is authentic to myself. I say it real and I do things that are true to me. So I decided to convert to Judaism. I did some research. A friend of mine, Sam Shearer, shout out, helped me find some rabbis, and I definitely considered doing an Orthodox conversion back then. But I think for me, what was super scary was I didn't have a boyfriend at the time. I was doing this fully on my own, and committing to an Orthodox life felt a little intimidating and scary. It was not the first thing I could do. So I ended up converting through Park Ave Synagogue, which is an amazing conservative temple in the Upper East Side. And I converted under Rabbi Zuckerman. It was a 1.5-year process. I did it with 2 friends who I got to convert with me. I literally was my friend Claudia was engaged and I was you should just convert with me. And then one of my other friends was engaged and I was you should convert too. And it was amazing. It was so amazing. I learned so many beautiful things. Things that stuck out to me is Shabbat. I learned about Shabbat and how important Shabbat is. And, making challah is considered a good deed in the Jewish religion. And it's such an important part of a Jewish woman's, whole thing. So those are the kinds of things that were amazing. And I had a mikvah, which is, if you're not Jewish, an adult baptism in December of 2022. Then I went on and dated people, and a few months later, I ended up meeting my husband, who the husband story is another time, but it's very funny. We knew each other from 7 years ago, and we reconnected at a New York wedding, and blah, blah, blah. My husband and I went on our first date in June. We went to a wedding in Portugal. Ultimately, when I started getting serious with my husband, I knew it was something his parents were gonna want because he is a London Jewish guy, and in London it's either you're modern Orthodox or you are Reform, and most of his friends and everyone are modern Orthodox. At first I was like kind of annoyed just because I had already converted, and I was just like, this was time consuming. Like, I'm planning a wedding now. We didn't even discuss it till the wedding. I'm so happy I ended up converting Orthodox. I am modern Orthodox for all intensive purposes. I'm not perfect, and I don't stick to everything a modern Orthodox woman would. However, I do the best I can, and I think that that's the beauty of religion. It's to just do what makes you happy and what makes you feel fulfilled and what you can actually like keep up with. I was converted through my rabbi who married us, Rabbi Penny Dunner. He is fantastic. He's just like the smartest human alive, and I had like one-to-one sessions with him a lot, and I just love the Jewish religion. And there's another question here that's like, what is your view on Orthodox women shaving off their hair? Like, I think it's beautiful for that culture. Again, like keeping to what works for me. Like, I wouldn't be someone who's going to shave my head, but I still think it's beautiful. I think if you have a community and you can keep up with the community and you like all the things the community is preaching and whatever, I am here for that. I think I was Jewish in a past life. I must have been, because you would never be this attached to it. And I think everything is so beautiful about the Jewish religion and the Jewish faith and the Jewish culture. And honestly, I meet so many people and they're Jewish and I feel at home. So that's all I can ask for. So that's where we're at with my faith. And I love all of my Jewish followers, but I also love all different types of religions. I just personally relate with Judaism. Okay, I have a good one. How have your relationships changed with friends over the years? I think this is a really good one to touch on because it's complicated. I have had friends a lot of my life, but I think that one thing people don't know about me is I think I'm like a really easy target for people to like not fully understand me or like me. It's something that I've always felt, and I think I'm being my most authentic whatever person, but I think sometimes that comes off as like selfish or like I'm not super like empathetic, whatever it might be. I've definitely been misunderstood by friends. I've been misunderstood by people as a whole. And then there's people that love me and understand me and think I'm funny and think I'm like real and all that stuff. So it's like, you're not gonna win everyone over, but for me, friendships have changed 1000% over the years. It's like, if I was into a guy, like I wasn't hanging out with that friend that much, and then like as now my husband sticks around, like my husband's the easiest person to be around. He's like lying in bed with me and my girlfriends. Like, if you can't be behind my husband, I've had to like cut you out. And there's been a few friends that I've, just naturally like didn't really work. And then there's friends who have different phases of their life. They have babies, they have this, and like naturally when you progress in life, like things just happen. And my mom has been, reinforcing that to me because she has more wisdom. But it's like, you're naturally gonna move away from friends. And I don't think it has to be this like end of the world thing. It's obviously super hurtful, but you're gonna meet mom friends when you're in mom groups. You're gonna meet people in work, new careers, travel. So it's like, it doesn't have to be so defined, but I think that ultimately it can be hurtful for people to move on, and maybe they like other friends that you're still friends with, but they don't like you as much. Like, I don't know. I'm just trying to stick in a positive lane, and I have a really good group of support around me. My family is a huge support, and then I have friends that I've known for a very long time who like, we all are doing different things, but we just have this like unspoken bond with each other, and that is all I can ask for. I will say, as I get older, it's getting smaller, and anyone who's younger will understand that. I'm 30 years old though, turning 31 in a few weeks, so you learn. I felt like I knew it all when I was 20, and like now that I am 30, I'm just like, it's coming so much clearer, and like I'm loving my 30s. Like truly, I'm loving them. Why did you move from LA to New York? I met my husband in summer of 2022, and he was moving to LA. When you meet someone you like and it's like summer and they're telling you they're gonna move to LA, it's already doomed from the start, it might feel like. But for some reason, my relationship with my husband just continuously progressed, and I knew I had to give it a fair shot when he came and visited me from LA, surprised me on my birthday, and like I was just over the moon. I was like, I need to give this a chance. So naturally we were long distance LA. That flight is annoying as fuck. And like naturally my husband had just started his career in music, and he couldn't really like come and visit me because they didn't have a New York office at the time, and it was just like I was going more. There's always someone who goes more. Did our family holidays together that year that we first started dating, and it was just like so clear then and there that like it was just different with him. It was easy, and it's like so annoying and cliche to say, but like sometimes it's just different. And I always was like, I'm not doing this another year. I really didn't like long distance. My husband would call me like once a weekend and think that was okay. And like I was like, any friend I was around during that time, like I'm so sorry, because I literally would be like, he doesn't call me, what is he doing? Like I was just spiraling. We ended up getting a house together, a lovely, lovely, lovely house. Like it was a dream to live there. My landlord has kept this house immaculate, and it was like so perfect, and I was so house proud. Ultimately, we've lived there for 2 years, and I think that there has been points where I'm so into it. It's amazing. You can get sucked into the lifestyle. For me, what's been clear is I had a back injury in January. My wedding like caused me a lot of like emotional stress I probably inflicted on myself, but it is just a stressful time, and I ended up getting a disc herniation, was going like too many miles a minute. My wedding was in June, and I was like based in April in New York, and I just didn't end up going back because I was like, I don't want to fuck my back up before my wedding, so I just should stay put, do my PT here, whatever. And what ended up happening is just like after my wedding, after summer's gone by, I was like, my husband and I collectively were like, we just like don't miss it. We have such better friendships here. We have such better plans. We don't even have to think about our social life. We can just naturally live. We both kind of like vibe with the city. Like he's from London. I've lived in the city for a while. And I think there's like a slowness to LA that neither of us is that into. And then tripled with that is that we don't have family there. We don't have immediate family that lives in LA day to day. And I think if you have family and you're super close to your family and it's like the culture you grew up in, I think it's an amazing place to live. For me right now and for my husband, it was not working. We made the decision to move back to New York, which I'm super excited about. My husband has an office here that he can work out of, which is great. His company has a New York headquarters. I think our quality of life will be better, and we'll be closer to our family, and we can travel and visit, you know, my husband's family. So that's pretty much it. And also like my work, my manager is now in New York. Like it just felt like more aligned with like what was happening for me. Something personal you have never shared. I don't know if that's something personal, but like more weird facts that you might not know about me. When I was in the college process, I was having a really hard time. I did not do well on the SATs, and I have ADD and like just like a lot of like learning stuff. I'm dyslexic, all these things that have made learning and like certain like intake hard for me. So it was super competitive, and I had already switched into a school midway through my junior year where all these kids are like have college counselors and they're doing well in the SATs, and like that was a super sensitive subject for me. But I ended up getting into a bunch of amazing schools. University of Wisconsin was one, and I was like dead set on going. I had a roommate. I was gonna live at this place statesider, and it would have been amazing. I honestly think sometimes like what that would have been, but I got such cold feet like in August. I was like, Mom, I can't go. I like don't know. I'm like I have a gut feeling, and my gut feelings have always been so palpitating inside me that I just like when my gut is telling me something, I just know. I decided to pull out of Wisco in August. We called Syracuse, and since I was admitted, they like thankfully gave me a spot, and I just ended up going there, and it was really crazy. It's one of those things that it's like the road not taken. You think about it, it could have been so different. Like I don't even know, but that's something. Also, my dad is from Bermuda, which is like a random fun fact that like not a lot of people know. So I definitely have some like island blood in me, and I like to say that to people because I'm like, I love an island. I'm meant to be on an island, when in reality, I just love an island because everyone loves an island. What's next in your 5-year plan? I think for me, next in my 5-year plan, I have like a few goals. I first want to define like where living makes my husband and I happy. Like, is it gonna actually be New York? We say that we like love all these things, but like maybe we'll hit January and we're like, we really miss like the LA winters. Definitely both of us advancing in our careers. I think we both support each other career-wise. My husband's like my biggest cheerleader, which is so important because I've often felt like embarrassed embarrassed to be an influencer or like content creator with other boyfriends. And I think Charlie like undeniably supports me so much. And then I think starting a family in the next couple of years. I'm definitely someone who cannot have kids immediately. I recognize that like there is this pressure to have children like right after you get married and whatever, but for me, I think I need to wait, enjoy time with my husband, and I meet these women that have kids when they're like 33, 34, 35, and they just seem so much more grounded in their decisions, and I can only imagine like what I'll be at that age, because like every year is better now. So for me, that's gonna be like my timeline. So a few years with my husband, and then we definitely do want a family. And so I think that's where we're at with that. How much money do you spend on average a month on shopping? Plead the fifth. Okay, this is a great place to end. What is your North Star for your career path? I'm always thinking about this now because my career has become very much at the forefront, which like this was like a 30 thing. Like in 20s, I was interested in boys. Now I'm like, I want to be a businesswoman. I want to leave an impact. I honestly love content creation and I love like where it's taken me, but I would love to start doing more like in-person, like video segments of like red carpet. I've done some for the Daily Front Row and I'm only gonna do more, but that's like honestly where I really want to start dipping my toes a little, which I can do both obviously. I really want to start in volunteering with more animal shelters and help farm animals. I just hate the industry and where it's gone. I hate everything of inflicting pain to an animal. I know there's so many things and I don't want to offend anyone because animals and animal cruelty trickles into so many different areas, but I want to get more involved in that, and I would love to have a product of some sort. I think you have to be smart in these day and age of like what impact you can have with a product, because there's so many things out there. But if you're known for one thing, I think you can have a lot of success with that. And just enjoy life and be happy. That's it. Okay, bye guys. I hope you enjoyed this. It was so fun, and we can do another one of these soon. Bye.